the mysterious encounters with the dog-faced women of Ireland, unveiling chilling historical sightings and evidence. One of the most baffling and eerie legends to emerge from Ireland is the tale of the Cait Sidhe, or dog-faced women. These creatures, thought to have the appearance of women with the features of dogs, have been recorded throughout Irish history in both folklore and in chilling eyewitness accounts. But perhaps the most famous and documented encounter dates back to 1691 in the rugged landscapes of County Kerry. According to historical records from the time, a group of fishermen, as they were casting their nets into the cold waters, reported seeing several humanoid figures along the shoreline. These figures were described as having the bodies of women, but their faces were unmistakably canine, resembling large wolves or dogs. The fishermen described the creatures as walking in a pack, much like dogs, and their movement was both graceful and unnerving. The fishermen, terrified, fled the area, but one of them returned the next day to find strange paw prints and fur-like clumps on the sand, evidence that something supernatural had been in the area. This encounter, along with several others from the same region, sparked an investigation into the existence of these elusive creatures. While many of these encounters may be dismissed as folklore, there is a significant body of evidence and testimony that suggests the Cait Sidhe, or dog-faced women, were not just mythical beings, but may have once lived in proximity to human settlements. The most compelling evidence for their existence is rooted in group encounters and their habit of dwelling near villages, much like any other human community. This is what sets these encounters apart from typical mythical creatures. They were seen interacting with villagers, living near settlements, and even forming their own communities. Several eyewitness accounts suggest that these creatures were not solitary beings, but instead existed in groups or packs. They often traveled in pairs or small groups, which some locals described as having a distinctly pack mentality, similar to that of wolves. This group behavior was frequently noted in sightings that detailed their interactions with people. In County Tipperary, an account from the 1830s describes a family living in a remote farmhouse who grew accustomed to seeing a pair of dog-faced women living just outside their property. These women were frequently spotted near the fields, gathering food and herbs. At times, they would approach the family's garden, helping with work like weeding and clearing brush, though always remaining at a distance. Their interactions were always courteous, but there was a sense of wariness on both sides. The family grew used to their presence, but no one ever ventured too close. There was always an understanding that these creatures were other in some way. The dog-faced women, however, never left. They remained just on the outskirts, dwelling near the family for long periods, seemingly as a part of the natural surroundings. In another widely shared account from County Wexford in the 1740s, a local farmer witnessed a pack of dog-faced women gathering berries near his fields. When he approached them, they seemed not at all startled, continuing their task of gathering while occasionally glancing at him with their glowing, animal-like eyes. The farmer later found tracks near the berry patches, which resembled both human and canine footprints. Local legends even suggest that the pack of dog-faced women would occasionally be seen walking into the village to trade goods, though they were always seen at the edges of the marketplace, never fully integrating into the community. Group dynamics were not limited to just isolated sightings. In County Kerry, another report from the 19th century describes a large group of dog-faced women moving through the outskirts of a village. The creatures were seen walking together in pairs or small family-like groups, often resting near village boundaries at dusk. These sightings were corroborated by multiple sources, and villagers often reported hearing strange sounds in the woods, like howling, which many believed to be communication between the Cait Sidhe. These group encounters suggest that the Cait Sidhe were not isolated entities, but part of a much larger, organized community. They seem to have lived near villages, acting much like any other neighboring group of people, except for their appearance. It wasn't just that they were spotted occasionally. Their consistent presence in the area implied that they coexisted alongside humans, possibly even interacting with them on a daily basis, though always with a level of caution and distance. The 18th century chronicles from County Kerry. In the early 1700s, an Irish woman traveling through the rural outskirts of County Kerry claimed she met a woman whose face was not human, but resembled the snarling face of a hound. The woman, covered in tattered robes, reportedly spoke in a strange, growling language before disappearing into the night. The 1740s report from County Wexford. A man named Seamus O'Donnell was returning home from the market late one evening when he saw what he described as a wild-eyed woman with the face of a beast in the distance. As he approached, the creature supposedly howled, and within moments, a pack of other dog-faced women emerged from the shadows surrounding him. Seamus narrowly escaped, and his story quickly spread across the town, sparking fear and intrigue. The 1800s encounter in Donegal. A young boy reported seeing several women in the forest near his home. They were gathering herbs, but when they turned toward him, their faces were grotesque, resembling those of wolves. He described hearing strange howls that echoed through the trees, which many believe was a form of communication between the creatures. The 1835 Journal of Father William Burke. In his journal, Father Burke described a series of nighttime encounters where he and several parishioners saw dog-headed women standing by an ancient stone circle. They stood silently, watching the priests with glowing eyes before vanishing into the mist. The 1890s report from County Mayo. During the winter months, a traveler reported stumbling upon a group of women dressed in tattered furs. Their faces were unmistakably dog-like, and they were seen gathering at the base of an ancient Celtic cairn. The traveler described hearing a strange, haunting melody before the creatures disappeared into the night. The 1921 investigation by Thomas O'Reilly. A well-known Irish folklorist, O'Reilly spent months investigating reports of dog-faced women in the more isolated villages of Western Ireland. His findings detailed several encounters, but one particularly chilling account from a local farmer stood out. He claimed that a dog-faced woman entered his barn, took his chickens, and walked out on two legs with an eerie grace. The 1954 report in County Louth, a family camping near a forest outside of Drogheda, claimed to have encountered a wild woman whose face was that of a large dog. The family reported hearing howls and witnessing the creature standing on two legs, peering into their tent with glowing eyes before disappearing into the woods. The 1960s sightings in County Cork. Several witnesses reported seeing a pack of creatures resembling dog-faced women wandering near an old castle ruin. These creatures, described as wild and unkempt, were seen moving in unison and occasionally pausing to howl at the moon. Investigators found tracks resembling both human and canine prints near the ruins. The 1980s report from County Kerry. The same region where the 1691 sighting occurred was again the site of another eerie encounter. A local couple claimed to have seen two women by the side of the road with the heads of dogs. The creatures reportedly smiled in an unsettling manner before disappearing into the dense fog that frequently surrounds the area. Numerous investigations have been conducted over the years, from folklorists to paranormal researchers. Evidence in the form of paw prints, strange howls, and local testimony has only added to the mystery, though no definitive proof has ever been found. Some believe these encounters are tied to ancient Celtic beliefs, while others think they may be manifestations of deep-set cultural fears. Yet the overwhelming consistency of the encounters, spanning centuries, lends a credibility to the idea that the Cait Sidhe were real beings, be it physical or supernatural, who once lived near humans, with some still potentially existing in the fringes of our world. Despite centuries of accounts and chilling reports, the Cait Sidhe remains one of Ireland's most mysterious legends. Are these encounters simply folklore, or is there something more to these eerie sightings? Could they have lived among us, or perhaps still